sure I was going to say you're fine, but there was the scene at the end of the game where you were like kind of hunched over on the sideline, and then Shea had his arm around you. Like, what was going on at that point?
It's a football game. Feel good and excited for this week.
Oh,
I know what you're talking about.
Was that physical or emotional there when you were going through something there?
I feel good. I feel good.
How do you maintain positivity for you and your teammates when you're going through a difficult stretch as far as the record goes?
Yeah, it's tough. You put a lot of work in, and you're not getting the results on the win and loss category. But you just got to keep steadfast in your process, and I have confidence in everybody around me, and feel like we can definitely go on a run, and we just got to take it one step at a time, and just find a way to get one win.
Did you and Caleb Williams have much of a relationship when you guys were seniors or recruits or anything like that?
Yeah, me and Caleb have met a few times. Obviously, we both have, at times trained in California, so then we've, ran into each other in the offseason and whatnot. He's a really good player, super talented, obviously. So, it's going to be fun to match up against him and compete.
Obviously, it's you against their defense, him against this defense, but just how fun is it to go against a quarterback that you obviously, you're familiar with? You're both young guys trying to assert yourself in the league. How much fun is that for you? Yeah,
it's just competition. I mean, I think that we both kind of view it as, like you said, you're playing against the defense. So, a lot of times when our defense is on the field, I'm, either just, I'm cheering them on or, on the iPad trying to get ready for the next series. So, really excited to go compete against that team.
You left USC when you got there, right?
No, I left before he got there.
Before?
Yeah.
Okay.
What have you seen from the Chicago defense?
Yeah, they're tough. They lead the league in turnovers, so we're definitely going to have to do our due diligence and making sure that we take care of the ball, and it's going to be a lot of fun to play in that atmosphere. That's a place that I've always wanted to play at, so excited to play against a traditional organization, and in a place like Chicago against a really good team.
What makes Chicago a place you've always wanted to play?
I mean, just the history of it. I was younger, always seeing the elite defense and the teams that they had. Also I went to the same high school as Jim McMahon, so was just following that, and then at the same time just a traditional organization.
Jaxson, what is
that where the headband comes from?
Huh? No. Keeps hair on my face.
What has Jameis and Russ done with you, and how much of a help have they been to you? Can you kind of go into some of the stuff?
Yeah, I feel like I've, kind of hit on this a lot, but, they've just been, they're great leaders. Guys who I can always rely on, ask questions to. They do a really good job of holding themselves accountable and coming to work every single day with the right mindset. So they hold that standard for themselves and everybody around them. So it's been great to have those guys in my room. We spend a lot of time together, even once our schedule is off. So we all obviously have a really good relationship off the field as well. So it's been great to have those two as mentors for sure.
Jaxson, you've talked many times. You've talked many times about hating to lose.
Mm-hmm.
It's new to you. I'm sure there's a lot of rookie quarterbacks who have lost. Troy Aikman was like 0-11. Peyton was like 3-13. So knowing that and knowing how much you hate this losing, I mean, do you have to kind of reconcile that in your head sometimes? Sometimes rookie quarterbacks lose.
I mean, I don't really think of it that way. I don't really want to give myself any sort of excuse to think like that, and I want to go into the games with the right mindset and put our team in the best situations to win. It's definitely tough for sure, to say the least, but I think it's just extra motivating, every single day.
With Jameis, go back for a second. How do you view his role? Because it's not always that common that you have two veterans, right? Mm-hmm. And someone who has accomplished, started a lot of games
right.
as kind of the third stringer, knowing that, he's the emergency quarterback on game day, but how do you view his role?
He's
the way he interacts with you in that regard.
Yeah, he's like a coach on the field, in the film room when we spend extra time. He's a lot of times just quizzing me constantly, He's teaching me things that he's gone through in his past, and at the same time, our relationship goes far beyond just the football field in the personal life, and handling things that you do good, things that you need to improve on. So like you said, it's very unique to have those two guys, and for the team, I mean, he brings so much energy and optimism and positivity every single day. I mean, he's a guy that never wavers regardless of what's going on around him. So it's been a blessing to have him in my corner for sure.
Jaxson, are you still figuring out when to use your fire and your ferocity to play with being cautious and smart sometimes with the decision to slide or not to slide or go out of bounds? Is that still a process here for you?
Maybe a little bit. It's definitely something that when you watch the tape back on, you try to think of like those moments where you can kind of save your body a hit or not, but at the same time, it's really hard for me in those moments because I just want to compete, and ultimately I just want to score.
Jaxson, when defenses drop deep and force everything underneath, do you still need to take some calculated risks and throw into that to get the ball down the field? Or like on Sunday when you're taking a lot of what's underneath, can you move the ball down the field effectively that way?
Yeah, you definitely have to keep in mind like risk reward in situations. Obviously, for me, like I love to generate explosive plays. I feel like that's one of my strengths and something I do really well, even within the play and then off script as well. But there's a part of just playing mature, and I think that if I were to try to force things, that would turn games lopsided at times. So I'm just trying to operate the offense in the best way that I can by taking what the defense gives me, and then definitely when something presents itself, when I feel like the time is right, then you definitely got to try to take those opportunities and trust those guys to make those plays.
As far as just kind of when knowing when to be competitive, when to take hits, and things of that nature. When you see what happened to Jaden, obviously you're not thinking about fear anymore. When you see what happened to Jaden last week, Jaden Daniels, how do you process that as far as going into your calculus of when to take hits, when to slide, when to lean into that competitiveness a little bit? Yeah,
well, first of all, prayers to him. He's been a guy who I've been around for years since high school of us training with each other. So you definitely hate to see that, and you send prayers for him in his recovery. But that's just a hard question to ask because when he was out there, a lot of the starters on defense were out there as well. So how I view it, like I never want to come out of the game. If I'm up or down. I played in my bowl game last year, and we were up by like 30 points, and I'm telling the coach like, there's no way I'm coming out. I'll stay on the field even if you try to sub me out. So I think just as competitors, you're not going to be an easy out in those situations, and you feel like you can get back in the game because if you've paid attention to the NFL, like you can look at our Broncos game, you could watch the Bears and Cincinnati game, like there's even with what looks like a little time left, you're always still kind of in the game. So, how I see it is you play it through 0-0.
Just as far as like maybe, but just as far as like maybe like taking hits, I suppose. Like, do you change your calculus a little bit just seeing another guy go down the way he did? You think, okay, maybe I should think a little bit more about when to take this hit, when to slide, or things of that nature?
No, I'm gonna play the game the way I want to play the game.
Jaxson, when you talk about your competitive drive, your fire, how far does that go back? Do you remember the early time where you started realizing, I love this competition thing? How does it manifest itself for you?
I think it's just kind of always how it's been. My dad coached me really hard when I was a kid, and it never mattered, what opponent I was playing, what game I was playing, even if it's just like ping pong in the basement, like me and him would go at it. And, I hate that losing feeling, regardless of anything. Even if I'm playing pickleball, and I lose, that's going to ruin my whole day. So, I just think that's just something that's kind of just been instilled for me in family aspect since I was young.
There's a lot of talk when you're a Giants quarterback, playing in the Northeast, cold, wind, snow, rain. This could be maybe your first weather game. It could be cold, could be windy, could be snowy, could be rainy. what kind of history do you have in that? And do you think you can thrive in that kind of environment?
Yeah, well, it's definitely not my first weather game. I mean, I'm from Utah, and if you know anything about Utah, I played in 4 seasons. I mean, I played in snow games in high school, so you know, that's not something that is new to me. You know, where I played out of high school, where the wind blew, it was right outside of a canyon, so dealt with that every single day as well. So the weather's never been something that's you know, you got to make adjustments, but you know, in my mind, I feel like I've had plenty of experience.
Thanks, Darren.